Welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. Here we are moments after our last video. Basically just long enough to go grab a drink and come back. At the end of our last video, we had taken an Apollo-style craft to the moon, which is, boom, right there. And we are preparing to go down and land. Well, I'm noticing a problem. I was going to say we're planning on landing in this crater here, which is rapidly approaching the dark side of the moon, and you may notice that we have no lights on our landing craft. So, sadly, this video is going to start with some time acceleration until this comes back around to... you know what? I think we'll make this our principal landing. It's not the same one, right? No. We'll make this our principal landing site. So that'll be... yeah, that should be good. So we fast forward until we get to a point where that makes sense. Actually, as we pass overhead here, let's just take advantage of this to grab a gravioli reading. One of these should be open. Nope. Nope. No. Negative. No dice. Aha! Boom. Southwest crater. Done. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Thank God I noticed that. I was contemplating just popping in and being, you know, just picking up where the action left off, and I was like, nah, I'll do a quick recap. Bum-ba-dum. So, our mission, for those of you who either don't remember or don't care or weren't here, those of you, let's be honest, there aren't viewers here. There's one of you, and how are you today, by the way? I forgot to ask. You doing well? How are the kids? Nice, nice, excellent, excellent. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. And anyhow. In case you've forgotten or you've been struck with a severe blow to the head or whatever the case may be, our plan today is take this lander down, land on the surface. If our fuel tolerances are good, we will take off with our landing gear intact, rendezvous with our mothership here, and as such, we will transfer any data that we need to transfer and then go for a second landing site, which would be pretty awesome. It's something I've not done before, actually. And the fact is that I was thinking it would speed things up to do 2 missions on a single launch. And from a role-playing perspective, it absolutely does. I mean, it was 1 launch vehicle to get here instead of 2. Even though we're spending time in orbit around here, you know, it's usually a 23 to 24 hour mission each, so long as we're done in under 48 hours, we're doing pretty good. And it's 1 set of resources, so it's less wasteful. All that's good stuff. Then I realized my last video was 48 minutes, which is about the length of time, close enough as it makes no difference, to the length of time of my normal videos where I launch, land somewhere on the moon, go home. And so I was thinking that this video, if I land just once, will be 2 videos to get, oddly enough, less science than my last video because I forgot my Science Junior. And it'll take 2 videos instead of the 1. And even if I do go to a second site, I don't have enough fuel, I do not believe, to do 3 sites. And if I do 2 sites, you figure I undock for this video, go down, do all the science I'm going to do, take off, rendezvous, dock. By the time I do all that, that's probably going to be about 35-40 minutes. And so then I'll do a third video where, if everything goes well, I will land again, go down, come back up, rendezvous, dock, and head home. And that will be a third video. Boop. So that'll be 3 videos, 3 hours to do 2 missions. So yeah, that long rambling design basically to take up the last 6 minutes of speeding around. My next pass should put me at a good place to land in this, although I might have to take one more, regrettably. But yeah, so that's that. But it'll be fun, and I'm hoping it'll be more entertaining for you, as opposed to, no, we're gonna have to do one more, as opposed to what's been happening of video starts. It's the exact same launch procedure to get to the moon every single time. Then we land on the moon, we inevitably crash on the moon. That's, can be exciting. And then we go home, and we go home the exact same way every single time. And I mean, yeah, there's a few moments of excitement, as in when we got recaptured by the moon, or we come in too steep and we do an impossible amount of G's, things like, or we do have a nice landing. Like, yeah, that's moderately exciting, but for the most part it's effectively the exact same mission over and over and over and over again. And this will at least hopefully provide you with some variety and something more interesting to watch. So as we come up on where we want to launch here, we're going to set our parent craft up going prograde, so that our daughter craft, come on, is facing retrograde. We make sure that everything works. Our landing gear, doop-doo. We know our solar panels are working. We check our mobility enhancer. No, not our fuel tanks, our mobility enhancer. And that's actually a blatant lie. We are going to check our fuel tanks here. Mobility enhancer looks good. We're going to check our RCS fuel, which is missing 4 units from when we did our docking. So we'll fill that up. Not that I think 4 units will be the be-all end-all. I mean, I hope 4 units is not what I'm depending on. 10 units though, 6, or no, just 8. Anyhow, it's nice to have, and I'd rather have it and not need it than be climbing up here and realizing, oh my no, I am, 8 meters per second short, and now I'm going to die. Granted, the likelihood of that happening are pretty slim, but we like to be prepared. So as we're passing over to the light side here, we'll get ready. The light side. We'll get ready to disembark. You'll have to forgive me. I'm kind of starting to ramble. I think I've done 4 of these videos today, and I played another save that I've been working on for a couple hours as well. So my brain's pretty much shot, but I wanted to get this taken care of tonight. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to control from here. We're going to undock. We're going to send Bob out into the wild. Put our SAS on. Everything looks good. Everything is full. Now we want to get out of the way of our parent craft so that we don't collide when we go to slow down. So we'll go ahead and scooch. Scooch. Just a hair of our RCS fuel to do that. Now, because we have a large amount of RCS fuel, we're going to use that to start slowing us down for our descent here. Whoa, that's a little bit more than we needed. Now the planet's rotating, so that should be pretty good. We want to use up our RCS fuel for this, as opposed to our rocket fuel, because one, we have so much of this and so little rocket fuel, and two, although I've never flown this particular lander before, we're not going to hit, are we? You know what? I'm not going to risk it. Joop. No, we wouldn't have hit. We would have been fine. When I've flown landers similar to this, we have come... When we land, we have like 1.5 units of fuel left. And if I have any chance of getting this lander back to this ship with its landing gear intact, I need to land with between 10 and 16 units of fuel. So that being said, I need to... oh yeah, we would have been fine. I need to be extra careful with my fuel here. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put our RCS on, and we're just going to bleed some of this speed. Now I figure it took about 8 units, so we'll call that 10 units, because we were physically attached last time, of monopropellant fuel in order to dock last time. Now we can always dock from this craft to this craft if we do exhaust all of our monopropellant fuel, but it's really not ideal. And I figure we'll use about 70 to get off the surface, because that's pretty close to what we had been using. So I want to keep my monopropellant above probably 90. I'd say 90 would be our safe level, and anything I use below 70 for our descent would it would be pointless to try to keep our landing gear, because I don't believe I would have enough to take off even if I had enough fuel. I mean, unless I was really spot on with my rocket fuel. Now, this is going to be a little tricky. Most of our landings that we've been doing in this video have been with little lateral movement and much more vertical movement, which is how I prefer to land. The reason for that being that when you bleed off vertical speed, your landing gear are pointed at the ground, which is awfully nice. Whoa. It's awfully nice because, you know, you're not going to crash and die because your landing gear are there. Whereas when you're bleeding off... Oh, shit. Didn't want to do that. Sorry to my one viewer who I'm swearing at now. Yeah, NASA would have had a fit if I had said that over Vox. When you're bleeding off horizontal speed, your landing gear are sideways, and then you still have to straighten your craft in order to land. So I'm not going to say it's a lot trickier, but it is trickier and more stressful, and if given the opportunity, I would prefer not to do it that way. So there we go. That puts us pretty firmly in this crater. We want to try to land in a flat spot. Would be awfully nice. Granted, I have no idea what's flat and what's not. I think these dark regions are deeper and more likely to be flat, but really I have no idea. That's just me making a guess. Just like saying that the center of one of these circles is probably more flat. I mean, I would assume the center is more flat than the edges, but I don't know. I don't know. Bum-ba-dum. Bob, not looking too happy about what's ahead. Honestly, I can't say I blame him. Poor guy. Now, my hastily scribbled notes from another flight that I had recorded with a lander that honestly isn't much like, I mean, yeah, it's similar. It doesn't have any science crap on it. It has 4 monopropellant tubes instead of 1. It has different batteries. I mean, it's close, but different. It doesn't. I don't think it has even solar panels. But I just jotted down some milestones I would like to hit for this landing, and that would be things like at 35 kilometers, I want to be going 510 meters per second or less. At 30 kilometers, I want to be going 250 meters per less, and I should have 100 units of liquid fuel left. At 13 kilometers, I want to aim for 330 meters per second, and that's basically all I have. So those aren't, I mean, it's a different craft, so it's apples and oranges, but those are just kind of things I'm going to be looking for to gauge whether or not I'm going to have enough fuel to take my landing gear off of this body, or if I'm going to have to leave them behind. Plenty of electrical charge. I'm going to go ahead and retract this now. So far uneventful as I'm coming in. I'm sure that will change. If I was originally aiming for that dark area in the hopes it would be flat, I now know I'm not going to hit it. I'm going to hit closer to here. So let's hope that's flat. You know, why not? I mean, if I arbitrarily think the dark area is flat, I can arbitrarily think that area will be flat. Bob Kerman, still not very happy with the way things are going. My first milestone coming up here, 35 kilometers, 510 meters per second. Looks like we will we'll hit that easily. Let's time warp a little bit here. Bob, of course, having only ever landed using a parachute and minimal use of engines, but he did have to land on 2 specific points, so at least he has that going for him. That said, we're going to roll the craft. I don't know why, I just prefer to land with the controls set up this way. So that's the way we'll go. Get ready, we'll turn on this engine. Gonna bleed off a little more speed here. I'm gonna go ahead and fire up our engine now. Oh, turn off our RCS thrusters because we're just wasting that there. Not burning completely retrograde, trying more to, oh, we might land in that dark area after all. Let's hope to goodness it is flat. Just wanting to burn off as much of that lateral speed as I can. I don't really know how the elevation here. I think I'm about to drop down to just one fuel tank. Yes, I am. I don't know what the elevation is here. Quickly, I forgot to do this. EVA report, keep it, get back in. I'm guessing it's around 2 kilometers. Based on previous flights that we've had. I don't see a shadow anywhere. Not that I need to see a shadow, I'm not a groundhog, but it is always reassured. Up, there we go. It's always reassuring to have something to go on. There we are. Remember, anything more than 10 meters per second and we're gonna crash. It looks like we have a slight slope on the ground. Coming up to just 10 units of fuel left. Nice gentle landing. Keep it up, keep it up. Boom. We landed. We have 10 units of fuel left. I said between 10 and 16 is what I would need in order to take off. So 24 minutes in, my heart is just pounding in my chest. That landing gets me every time. I didn't take a gravity while on my way down. I have to remember to do that on the way up. We got our gravity, we got our temperature, we got our seismic. Let's go ahead, grab our goo. So let's just check real quick. That was the EVA above. Crew report, I would have forgotten that one. Goo report, we don't have a science junior. I did the thermometer, I did the gravioli. I need to do a gravioli on my way up. I've got my seismic I have to do an EVA and I have to do my sample. So let's get him out of here. Quite the flat landing zone you picked here, Bob. I'm very impressed. Nice job. We're going to take our surface sample. We're going to do our EVA report. We're going to plant our flag. East far side crater. Nothing like being a little cocky, Bob. Excuse me. So, now we decide. Ow. Now we decide whether or not this was worth it. We have those experiments. Nothing will take that away from us now. Now we can try to take off with our lander legs, which will be difficult. I've never done it before. I said I'd need 10 units of fuel based on my rough calculations, and I have 10 units of fuel. I also said I needed more than 100 units of monopropellant, and I have more than 100 units of monopropellant. I'm at a pretty good clearing here. 90 degrees is that way. Clear and open. There is, based on my hypothesis and nothing but my hypothesis of what it requires to take off in this craft I've never flown before, it looks like we're good to do it. The hard part, of course, is that all of this science, all of this going up, knowing we're going to go in for another landing, that's a lot on the line, but it's really... Bob is the one I'm worried about, and whether you're landing once or landing twice, it's no more risky. Really, the only risky thing here is whether or not I can get this lander off the ground. If I can't get this into orbit, then Bob will die. If I can't get it into orbit, I've had to empty this fuel tank into these. So if he doesn't get into orbit, there is no... I can't just jettison this, because if this tank has fuel in it, it won't go to these engines. So it's an all or nothing. It's the kind of moment where I wish I didn't have to use the restroom, but hey, that's what we signed up for, right? So I'm gonna head for a 90-degree heading, which will hopefully keep me going the direction I was going, and I'll be able to meet up with our parent ship. If for some reason I can't get on that heading, the parent ship can always make a burn to come rendezvous with me. That might put us... Well, I mean, that would definitely put us out of landing on the other site we had picked out, which is now on the dark side here. And it would jeopardize us being able to land a second mission. A second mission this time around, but it wouldn't necessarily... It wouldn't necessarily mean that the mission was a failure. I could just abort with the one craft. So that said, we're going to make sure that everything is checked, everything is ready to go. Monopropellant here is empty. Our electric charges are full. Our monopropellant above 100. Liquid fuel 55 units, 10 more than I said I would need. Or, 0.1 more than I said I would need. 7 units. So we go up, we tilt over. We're going to put these in just in case. Not that it'll matter if we crash, we're dead. But it's one less thing to have to worry about. And I do need to get that when we take off. That's secondary though. So, takeoff procedure here. And Bob, I just really want to make sure that I have run all the experiments I need to run. I got my temperature log, I got my seismic, I did do my crew report. I don't have the science, I do have that. I did my EVA, I did my surface sample, I have 3 things stored there. I'm losing electricity. It's now or never. Stop being nervous, stop being a baby. No guts, no glory. And we will launch in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm so scared. This is a craft that just makes it into orbit without the landing stages. Or without the landing stage. Or, well, the similar craft, I should say. We're going to start burning that RCS fuel to supplement right away here. I almost forgot that. Would have taken away from this victory. Yeah, it put me way off of the orbital inclination of our other craft here. Doesn't necessarily make this impossible, but it's going to make it difficult. So 190 is the amount of speed I need to generate. And I'm running out of RCS fuel to do it with. Heart is just pounding. $181, and I think 70 units of monopropellant in my other craft can bring me up about 180 meters per second. $40 units, I'm going to have to stop. Stinks that I'm not at the same heading. I didn't really think about that. $132, I don't need anything near that. At 25 units, that will be about the last of my monopropellant fuel I can afford to spare. I wasted just the slightest amount, but still, any waste is a problem. 7 units left. 6 units left. 5 units left. This is going to be close. 4 units left. 3 units left. 2 units left. We did it. Holy crap! Oh, that's gut-wrenching. My insides are in knots. 55 seconds, we're just going to burn prograde with the last of our fuel here, just to bring this up to something respectable. It's going to take a lot of fuel to get us inclined to the same amount. And I don't have any left in this craft to do it. all I will be able to do is that. Granted, that puts us pretty close at that point. I mean, our speed difference will probably be considerable, and I don't think I can get 57 meters, let's be honest. But let's go ahead and put out our solar panels. I mean, we got into orbit, and we're coming up on 42 minutes of video time. But so we did that. That was tough. We're going to unset this as our target so that I get my maneuver nodes back. I mean, this craft is pretty close to dead in terms of any form of fuel, but it's got plenty of electricity, and it's going to have enough monopropellant that if I can get my mothership close, we will be able to dock. Apollo 1 debris? Are we still called the Apollo 1? I don't think I officially changed the name of the ship to Apollo 2. I was going to say that if those boosters made it all the way up here, they're doing something right. What little engine power we have left. Burns those out. And we'll drop this to about 20 before we call it a day with that. So that's all we're going to be able to do. So let's go ahead. I was hoping to talk a bit about some orbital mechanics and how to rendezvous, and I was hoping we'd be on similar planes to do that, but, you know. Oh, we're still throttled up here. But that's not going to happen. So let's go ahead. Switch craft. Bill and Jebediah. For some reason it started us 1,000,000 miles away. That's alright. So we got our resources here. Now, first thing we want to do under normal circumstances anyhow would be to set our orbital inclinations to close. Set our... Oh, sorry, I got distracted by real life there. First thing we want to do is set our orbital inclinations to relatively close to one another. 116 kilometers, but this one 14 kilometers. Anyhow, so we're going to want to do that by going to our either ascending or descending nodes. And honestly, I'm contemplating where this is relatively close. I'm thinking if I can just bring that separation closer, I might be able to do it in one fell swoop in kind of a sloppy fashion, but that's 11 kilometers. Normally what I would do is I would bring our orbital inclinations into so that they were parallel, and then with whatever craft was further ahead, in this case our mothership, I would have it at a wider apoapsis, because the farther out from an orbital body you are, the slower you move. So if something that's lower in altitude is going to move quicker to catch up to you. Then once you arrange for the two craft to be relatively close to each other, you play with your altitudes until you have something like this, where you are at a close separation. Once you are near that close separation, you avoid the urge to just burn towards the craft, because as you're burning towards them, you're changing your orbital plane by quite a bit, and thus, even though you'll get close to them for a moment, you'll quickly whip past them or by them. So what you want to do is you want to, as you get close, move your set your velocity relative to your target to 0, and then start to move slowly towards them. It might take a couple of attempts, but that is the best way to do it, to keep your orbital planes as close to each other as possible, and then dock, and then move on from there. So even though that these two areas are close, when we get to this position, we're still going to have to set our relative speed to our target, to the lander, to 0, which means we're still going to end up bringing this plane down and bringing our orbital path to something very similar to what our lander's currently at. So it's just a matter of how I want to go about doing that, and which way to do that would be the most fuel efficient. Sadly, I think the long way is going to be the best way. So we're at the descending node, so in order to bring it up, we go up. And yeah. We want to do that, and at the same time we want to slow ourselves down and bring ourselves up. Now, of course, all of the fuel that I'm expending here makes it less and less likely that we will be able to do another mission, but obviously getting Bob back is paramount, no matter what Jebediah says. The inclinations are pretty close. Let's get them a little bit closer. Ugh, that really hurts, that taking off. I mean, it was a hell of a takeoff. I am so impressed I was able to pull that off. But not being on the same inclination really hurts us. So that puts us at a separation of 42. If we do that, then that's our apoapsis, and we can change. So we're going to do this in 2 burns. There is our maneuver node, 10 minutes. Bum-ba-dum. Obviously, these kinds of fuel expenditures are things we're going to have to look at when we decide. I gotta act fast. When we decide whether or not we can do another mission here. I should have burned more, but let's bring this in. Nope, that's going to be too much. Let's bring this out. No, that's going to be too bad. To be that close and not have it. 16 kilometers. Can I do any better than that? $15 kilometers. 7 kilometers. So that's a little... It doesn't help me that for some reason at 1 a.m. all of my friends decide they need to get in touch with me. Alright, add maneuver. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull this over to get those two closer together. At this rate, they are 18 kilometers apart. Now, if I bring that in, that should reduce those, but it's going to move the other one back because that's going to happen faster. So that's 14 kilometers apart. Now we move this over a little bit more. We shift our orbit around the planet's center, and it's 2.3. Now we do this. That's 2.8, so that was less, right? Yeah, that's 5.8. So 2.3 was the best I had here. 2.3. If I reduce it a little bit more, that's 7.3. So if I speed it up, that's 5.3. Slow it down. See, not having precision controls for this is very frustrating. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8. That's as best as I can get it. The 30 seconds left to go to actually get into that position. Holy heavens. "25 seconds. Come on. Where is it? There we go. 19 seconds. Oi. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and delete this so we can see what the hell's going on over there. 3.3, 3.0, 2.7, 2.4. .5. So, we've changed our orbital plane to match theirs. As you can see, he's behind us right now, but we are flying out. We're flying further away from the planet. We have more arcs to cover. So we have the same number of arcs to cover, but a longer distance to go, so it's going to take us longer to go around than it's going to take this ship. So the two of us will meet up over here. We're at the same orbital plane, so we'll be awfully close to each other. That'll happen in 28 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward to 28 minutes. So we know within half a kilometer is where we're going to want to go. Now, when you're set up for targets, your gimbals change a little bit. For instance, your prograde now points to your speed in relation to your target. So if I burn in this direction, I will speed up in relation to my target. The pink with the dot is points towards your target. And then we have retrograde in relation to your target, and then points away from your target. So when we get to our closest point, we're going to want to bleed off whatever speed we have in relationship to our target so that we can capture it. Normally you would just use RCS thrusters for this. I am pretty good with this engine, so I tend to use it a bit more than I should, honestly. But I'm pretty good with its impulse rate. So there we go. We are barely moving in relation to our target. Remember, the lights are the front of our ship, so we're now going to we're going to do this the fancy way. First, we're going to spin our ship so that the controls make sense. So you put the hatch up, and that tends to work out rather well. We're going to set up our docking, which just alters the way the controls work a little bit and kind of locks you in position. So we are going to, actually we're not going to do that yet. We're going to RCS thrusters on, and we're going to just nose our way backwards to null that out to 0. Turn off our RCS thrusters. We're going to point towards our target again. Now our orbital paths aren't identical. They're pretty close, but if I take too long here, I will drift away from my target. So this comes back on. We're going to drift towards the target. We're pretty far away. So I want to get... this thing is pretty heavy, with its monopropellant fuel not doing a whole lot. So we'll move at 3 meters per second. It'll take us about 100 seconds to get there. Terribly exciting, I know. So once we capture the ship, because I have very, very few doubts that that will actually happen. Once we capture this ship, we are going to assess our fuel situation. I need probably 300 units of fuel in the orbiter to get home. Plus you figure 150 or so to do any maneuvers that we might need to recapture the LEM. And if I can maintain that amount of fuel and refuel the LEM, we will go ahead and prepare to launch another mission. Sadly, that'll probably wait until tomorrow because it's getting very late here and some of us need to work. I'm not saying that you don't need to work. I don't want you to think that I'm attacking you. I am just attacking one of my friends who I know will never watch this, who doesn't have to work and has no excuse for why he needs to go to bed early. Coming up here. Still drifting towards our target. It'll be about a minute. But we're not gonna, we'll never intercept it because we're too high up. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna kill our relative speed and set up for another capture attempt. Well, not really. What we're going to do, in all honesty, is, helps if we face the right way. We're going to face the ship we're attempting to capture. We look relatively well lined up, and we are going to switch over to our friends here. Hey, buddy. How've you been? You appear to be a little low on fuel. Let's go to that great big gas station in the sky, shall we? Alright, so we are going to switch to our docking computer now. We are going to set this as our target. And RCS thrusters on. I'm going to go up just a little bit. Just a little bit. And we're going to go in at a speed of about 1 meter per second. Bum-ba-dum. Here we go. We're at an hour and 8 minutes. I'm sorry for that. A few things have obviously not gone well. One, the incredible inclination we had here. Two, well, the first thing I guess would be the fact that our first landing site was covered in darkness. And then landing went well. I mean, it did. I must give credit where it's due to good old Bob. But then the inclinations being all messed up here and coming up with those, and people in real world trying to get in my way. Don't they know I got Kerbals? Come down. Just slowly guide our way in here. Drift over. We're on the money. I think we used 1.3 units of fuel. I think I had 19 when I started. Boom. Locked. Captured. Ready to go. Resource check. Alright, so if we go ahead and we use this. Hold on. Let's do this the right way. Let's go ahead and make sure that this engine is off. We're going to take this fuel, which is full, so we're going to take this fuel, 145, which is more than this whole thing can hold. So we'll fill that up, we'll fill up the other one, we'll fill up the third one, and then we'll fill up the monopropellant, we'll look at everything, and just based on preliminary data, I'm going to say we're going to be good. Alright, I do that a lot, I click out. There we go. And then it's this thing that's covered in a million substances here. Alright. So I said I need probably 300 units of fuel to get home, plus 100 for any maneuvers. I have 700, so that's fine. This craft here, this is actually going to take a while to fill this up because it's going to require a lot of these. But at least it transfers quickly. The lander is going to be 100% full of fuel. So as far as the lander is concerned, this is its first mission. Stress of the landing is going to be a lot less because we're going to be a lot lighter when we take off, because we're leaving the landing legs behind. So the takeoff will be better, and actually landing will be easier because I don't care whether or not my legs have any fuel left in them. So long as they have, you know, 1/8 of a unit of fuel in order for me to touch down, I'm good. So that's that. I have decided we are definitely going to go for another landing. That will of course be a third video because we're already at 1 hour and 12 minutes. So we are 2 hours into this mission. We have 1 landing and almost 1 full set of scientific experiments. We're going to need to find a place that we can go that's somewhere along this orbital path. I can alter it a little, but I don't think I'm going to be able to alter it that much and still be where I want to be for fuel and get back and all that fun stuff. But I think we might be able to... I think this is something. This terrifying area here. So we'll come up with that. We'll figure that out. I'll be back for next time. I'm actually going to have to leave things here for now. Leave them floating around. Make sure that everything is open with solar panels. They should be good. And I got to get to bed. But I will see you folks next time. Thanks for watching. And good night to Jebediah, Bob, and Bill. Thanks. See ya.